Chief Program Officer for the Gateway Development Commission, building the Hudson Tunnel. And before that, I worked for Governor Hochul as Deputy Secretary for Transportation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner. And I should also ask for you all's grace, as I may mispronounce some of you all's name, but I will do my very best. Commissioner Manny Pashrich, appointed by the Speaker of the City Council.
Hi, I'm also honored to serve with all of you. Again, I'm Manny Pashrich, the President of SEIU Local 32 BJ.
Commissioner Bishop Calvin Rice, appointed by the Speaker of the City Council. Bishop?
Good afternoon. My name is Bishop Calvin Rice. I pastor the New Jerusalem Worship Center in Jamaica. Prior to that, I've been there for 20 years. Prior to that, I did 20 years in Staten Island at the First Central Baptist Church. I am the organizer of the Rochdale Early Advantage Charter School, founder and organizer that's been in existence for 15 years, and I'm honored to be on this commission with my fellow commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Andrea Salwin Copel, appointed by the Speaker of the City Council. Andrea?
Hi, thank you. I'm Andrea Salwin Copel, and I'm right now the Executive Director of National Council of Jewish Women New York, and I've been working in nonprofit management here in New York City, serving New Yorkers for my whole career. I'm very honored to be here. I'm very grateful to our co-chairs, very grateful to Danielle and everyone who has signed on to be part of the staff for this commission. And I think it's a very timely moment to be working on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Joanne Yu, appointed by the Speaker of the City Council.
Good afternoon. My name is Joanne Yu. I too am very honored to serve with all of you. Until recently, I was the Executive Director of the Asian American Federation. I serve as Senior Advisor for the Federation now, and otherwise, I'm a free agent.
Thank you, Joanne. Commissioner Raul Algarwa, appointed by the Mayor. My apologies for mispronouncing your last name.
Oh, no problem. Very close. Rahul Agarwal. Let me just say I consider it a real achievement to have remembered to bring the $9 today, so we're off to a pretty good start. I am currently a litigation partner, mostly criminal defense lawyer at a law firm in New York. I spent 2 years with the mayor before that. Before that, I spent about 10 years at the Department of Justice as a prosecutor in New Jersey. Happy to be here. Pleasure to meet you all. Looking forward to what we all accomplish together. Thanks.
Terrific. Thank you. Commissioner Rachel Goodman, appointed by the Comptroller.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. I'm Rachel. I'm the Chief of Staff in the Comptroller's Office, and before that was the Chief of Staff for the 39th Council District. And this is my first time serving on a commission, so I'm excited to get started.
Wonderful. Thank you. Commissioner Mark Winston Griffith, appointed by the Public Advocate.
Peace, everyone. Good afternoon. Mark Winston Griffith. It's an exciting moment to be part of something that is working on building democracy. It's something I've been dedicated to all my life. I've been an organizer, been involved in social justice, journalism, economic development over the decades, and I'm currently the co-executive director of Free Speech TV, which is a national 24/7 news and commentary television network.
Thank you, Mark. Commissioner Mark Rakipopo, appointed by the Brooklyn Borough President, who is joining us via Zoom. And Mike, please correct me.
It's Mike Rasiopo, not Mark. It's Rasiopo, but since I've been growing up, people always stammer. My name is never easy. It would have been a lot easier. My mother's name is Irish Ward. Would have been a lot easier. Thank you for the introduction. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I had booked a trip for my 40th birthday long before that this was there. So I'm happy to be there. Happy to be able to join via Zoom. I'm currently the district manager of Brooklyn Community Board 6. Looking forward to working with all of you. Before that, I taught political science at Brooklyn College for a lot of years, and excited to be part of this, and looking forward to being in person and the rest of this meeting, and remembering the $9.
Terrific. Thank you, Mike, for your grace, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Commissioner Matt G. Wolb, appointed by the Manhattan Borough President.
Good afternoon. Really pleasure to be serving with everybody. My name is Matt Gawal, currently the Senior Associate Dean at New York Law School, before this was in public service, including as the director of the 2018 edition of the New York City Charter Revision Commission. So glad to be back.
Look at that. Like that. Having a veteran. And Commissioner Dr. Ramathan, can you say it for
That's
me?
okay. I'm good. Ram. That's much
Ram.
easier. Yeah.
Ram.
I'm Dr. Ram Raju. I'm the senior advisor to the borough president of Staten Island, and I'm also senior advisor on intergovernmental affairs and health, and the director of economic development of Staten Island. Glad to be a part of this commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. I appreciate it. Unable to join us today is as you heard, is co-chair Henry Garrido, appointed by the Speaker of the City Council, Commissioner Roderick Jones, appointed by the Speaker of the City Council, and Commissioner Robert Miraglia, appointed by the Bronx Borough President. With that, we have achieved a quorum. Thank you all. I appreciate you all committing your time and expertise to the commission and the good of the city of New York. Prior to the meeting, you should have received a copy of the proposed bylaws and policies of the commission, including the anti-discrimination and harassment policy and procedures governing members and public remote attendance. There are also copies in your folders. I will also note that while we are not proposing any specific policies regarding conflict of interest, all members of the commission are subject to the city's conflict of interest laws. If you have any questions about that, you can direct them to staff that I will introduce later or directly to the Conflict of Interest Board. Are there any questions before we move to adopt the bylaws and policies of this commission?
Madam Chair, I didn't have an opportunity to introduce myself earlier.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
My name is Alan Swisher. I'm the General Counsel for the Office of the Queensborough President. I just wanted to thank Borough President Richards for appointing me to this commission. I also want to acknowledge Tarika Morrison, who is our Deputy General Counsel, who's going to be my partner in this process. Our interest is just ensuring that the residents of Queens are heard and reflected. So
Wonderful.
thank you.
My apologies for that. Did I make sure I've got everyone else? Okay, terrific. Are there any questions in regards to the bylaws and policies of the commission? Okay, hearing none, I will now entertain a motion to adopt these bylaws and policies.
Co-Chair Rice, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the bylaws, the procedures governing member and public remote attendance, and the anti-discrimination and harassment policy.
Wonderful. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. We move to adopt the bylaws and policies in full. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. This has been our first act of official business. Yes. Next, we're going to entertain next, I will entertain a motion that the commission appoints Danielle Castaldi Mika.
I'm with Mike on the Italian last name.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. You all are going to work me out this with this commission. As executive director of the commission and delegate we want to delegate to her authority to conduct the day-to-day business of the commission, including the ability to appoint other staff members as may be necessary to assist us in our work, to establish policies and procedures for staff members necessary to ensure the professional and orderly conduct of staff work, as well as the ability to accept any and all services, facility, or funds on behalf of the commission in accordance with Section 36 of the New York State Municipal Home Rule Law. Danielle comes to the commission with a great deal of experience at the City Council under 3 different speakers, as well as many years of working to expand local reproductive rights protections across the country. I know we have all been in touch with Danielle, and she has gathered a great staff who are doing tremendous work to help us advance our goals. Is there a motion to approve Danielle as the executive director?
Madam Co-Chair, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Danielle Castaldi-Mika as the executive director of this commission.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right. We would like to move to have Danielle as executive director of the commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries and congratulations. I want to take a moment to recognize the staff of the commission, many of whom are here today. If you are here, if you would please stand or raise your hand, whatever is comfortable, so that the commissioners know who you are. I believe we have all met Danielle, but if you could stand or wave, we would appreciate that.
So wait.
All right, is David Sitzer here?
Hello, commissioners. Looking forward to working with all of you. I'm David Seitzer.
Thank you. Chelsea Kelly.
Hi, everyone. Chelsea Kelly. Excited to work with you all. I'm the director of land use.
Wonderful. Daniel Krupp.
Hi, commissioners. My name is Daniel Krupp. I'm the associate director of finance. So your budget and finance questions, please come to me. We'd love to work with you. Congratulations to all of your appointments. Looking forward to working together.
Okay, is Ricardo Lucia here?
Ricardo is not here today. He's at his sister's wedding.
Oh, yay. Congratulations there. Jessica Boulay.
Also out today, but that's the last one.
Okay, all right. Thank you all and congratulations to.
There's more.
There's more. Okay. Jessica Fung.
I'm Jessie Fung. I'm a Policy and Research Council, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Wonderful. Manur Butt.
She's downstairs.
Still
Waiting for the last member of the law department to join us.
Wonderful. Frank Hulka.
Hello, everyone. Frank Hulka, Deputy Director of Outreach. Very excited and glad to be working with all of you.
And Madison Rosensaft.
Hi, everyone. I'm Madison Rosensaft. I'm on the outreach team as a liaison. I'm excited to work with all of you.
Wonderful. Are there any other staff members whom I have not acknowledged? All right. Thank you all and congratulations to Danielle and the staff. I know we are all looking forward to working with you. Next, I'd like to introduce the team from the New York City Law Department who are here to give us a brief presentation on the charter, its powers, and the functions of the Charter Commission. I know there's a lot of enthusiasm and ideas in this group, and this is not the time for those questions, but they should be discussed with commission staff who can bring in the law department as appropriate. This is to ensure that all the commissioners are operating with the same baseline understanding of the outset of this process. Excuse me. Garrett Fisher, Alex Johnlin, and Trevor Lippman work in the Division of Legal Counsel in the New York City Law Department. Attorneys in the Legal Counsel Division provide advice to all elected officials and city agencies on virtually every aspect of municipal law. As a reminder that public information about the dealings of this body can be found at www.thecommission.nyc and on Twitter/X at @commission_NYC. Our first public hearing will be next week, just so you all know. That is Wednesday, March 5th at 5 p.m. at the Brooklyn Public Library at the Central Branch, Grand Army Plaza. Folks can register to testify in person via Zoom or in writing on the commissioner's website. So, gentlemen.
There's just 1 second to get the presentation up, and you can grab that mic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Garrett Fisher. I'm an attorney here with my colleague, Alex. We're both attorneys in the Legal Counsel Division at the Law Department, and we will be both advising the Commission as well as giving a short introduction, an overview of the New York City Charter. Next slide, please. So the charter sets out the structure, powers, and responsibilities of New York City's government. It's intended to be a short form document that broadly defines the authority, powers, responsibilities of city agencies and elected officials, as well as the basic processes of government. The charter generally does not contain detailed provisions governing agency programs or requirements imposed on individuals and businesses. These more detailed provisions are normally in the ad code and rules, but there are some exceptions. Next slide, please. So a little bit about the legal context of the New York City Charter. Local governments, including municipalities like New York City, derive their power and legal authority from the states where they are located. In New York, the legal framework for municipalities is set out by the state constitution and state laws. Among the key state laws that define local authority are the Municipal Home Rule Law, the General City Law, and the General Municipal Law. The Municipal Home Rule Law gives municipalities broad authority to determine their own structure and sets forth the processes for doing so. Next slide, please. So a little bit about the early history of the New York City Charter. So local charters date back to colonial times, but the first charter for New York City as we know it was adopted in 1897. Now, this charter is commonly referred to as the 1897 Greater New York City Charter because it was enacted by the legislature to govern Greater New York, which included the former cities of Brooklyn and New York, Manhattan, as well as other municipalities that became consolidated into one city with 5 boroughs on January 1st, 1898. Now, the 1897 Greater New York City Charter was very long and included a lot of material that would later be moved into the city's administrative code. Extensive amendments were made by law in 1901, but the 1901 Greater New York City Charter was still a lot longer and more detailed than our modern charter. Next slide, please. So the first short form charter that resembles what we have today was implemented by a 1936 Charter Revision Commission appointed by Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia. The 1936 charter was much shorter and focused on the fundamental structure of city government. For the first time, more detailed provisions were codified in the administrative code, which was adopted shortly after the approval of the 1936 charter. Now, there were further commissions from 1961 all the way up until 2024, which is the most recent charter to have completed its work. Some notable commissions include the 1975 commission, which broke up super agencies created during Mayor Lindsay's administration, also introduced the Uniform Land Use Procedure, or ULURP. The 1989 commission, which Alex will discuss in further detail later on in the presentation, dissolved the Board of Estimate, which you may have heard of. The most recent commission to have completed its work was appointed by Mayor Adams in May 2024, with proposals approved by voters during the November 2024 general election. Next slide, please. So now an overview of the current charter. Next slide. So the current charter is organized into chapters covering the mayor, the city council, the borough presidents, and the comptroller. These chapters generally set forth how officials are elected, the terms of and the powers and duties and the conditions for removal and the processes for succession and or the deputies to be hired or appointed. Next slide, please. And the next section of the charter deals with, sets forth processes related to budgeting, spending, and city property, including chapters on the expense budget, tax appeals, city planning, capital projects and budget, the budget process, the independent budget office, the obligations of the city, procurement, franchises, revocable consents and concessions, as well as the property of the city. The remainder of the charter mostly consists of chapters corresponding to agencies, offices, and departments. There are more than 40 chapters that each cover a different agency or offices. These chapters generally set forth the powers and duties of the agencies and their commissioners. These chapters cover topics such as appointments, rulemaking authority, subpoena power, and enforcement authority. Other chapters set forth the processes or requirements applicable to city officials and agencies, including the City Administrative Procedure Act, or CAPA, which governs rulemaking, elections and voter assistance, public access to meetings and information, term limits and qualifications, collective bargaining, conflicts of interest, and community districts and coterminality of services. Now I'll turn it over to my colleague Alex, who will discuss the process for amending the charter.
Thanks, Garrett. I'm Alex Johnlin, another attorney in our legal counsel division at the New York City Law Department. Go to the next slide, please. So even though the charter is in some ways like the city's constitution, unlike the federal and state constitutions, which are very difficult to amend, the charter gets amended regularly and is more of a fluid document. There are 4 ways that the charter can be amended. The first is by local law passed by the city council and presented to the mayor. Those can be either with or without a referendum. The second is by the state legislature by passing a state law. The third is by petition, which would put something on the ballot for a referendum. And the fourth is by a charter revision commission. And I'll just mention, we talked about referenda a couple times here. There are provisions of the municipal home rule law and the charter itself that tell us when a certain type of local law would require a referendum to be enacted, as opposed to those that can be enacted directly by the city council. Next slide, please. So a commission can be established under the Municipal Home Rule Law, Section 36, in several ways. One of these ways is by a local law passed by the City Council. Such a local law has to establish the commission, provide for the number of members, and how those members will be appointed. So this commission was established by Local Law 121 for the year 2024, which was enacted on December 13th of last year. That created this commission with 17 members appointed by a mix of 9 different elected officials in the city of New York, with the chair appointed by the Speaker of the Council. Commissions are temporary. They generally expire on the day that they propose amendments to the voters, and those amendments are put on the ballot. Or if they do not end up proposing ballot measures, then they expire on the date of the second general election after they're created. Also just mention that there are other ways of creating a commission as well. The mayor can create a commission separately, and in fact the mayor has. So as you may be aware, there's a second charter commission conducting work right now as well. So a commission has a number of powers. You can hire employees and consultants, which of course has already started. The commission can conduct hearings and take testimony, subpoena witnesses or documents. You can propose amendments to the charter, either that could be adopted normally through local law or those that would require a voter referendum. If you do decide to propose amendments, then they can either be an entire overhaul of the charter or just focus on certain parts of the charter. And any ballot measure can be posed to the voters either as one combined question, as a series of questions, or as alternative options. There are some limitations on what the commission can do. So the commission cannot propose amendments that go beyond the scope of the city's local powers under the state constitution and the municipal home rule law. That means that the commission cannot propose changes to charter provisions that would be inconsistent either with a general state law that's applicable across the state or with a special state law applicable only here in New York City, but that relates to a matter of state concern. Finally, a commission cannot propose amendments that would intrude on a subject matter exclusively under the purview of federal or state law, as that would be preempted. There are some things that the commission has to do. So first of all, the Charter Revision Commission must review the entire charter. You must hold public hearings. If the commission decides not to propose changes to certain parts of the charter, then you must issue a report along with the proposals that go on the ballot, explaining why you did not propose to make changes to those parts of the charter. And if the commission does decide to put measures on the ballot, then it must file those proposals with the city clerk in a timely manner so that they can be transmitted to the Board of Elections at least 3 months before an election. So the upcoming election days are November 4th of this year or November 3rd of 2026, which means that the commission has to file its proposals with the city clerk by about the end of July of either year to get on that year's ballot. Talk a little bit about a few recent notable commissions. Garrett mentioned the 1989 commission, which was one of the more significant in the last few decades. This eliminated the Board of Estimate from the charter. For those who don't know, the Board of Estimate was another body in addition to the City Council that exercised a number of important powers under the city charter. Part of its makeup was that it had a seat for each borough president, and the Supreme Court struck that down as unconstitutional, finding that having one vote for each borough, even though boroughs had widely varying populations, was unconstitutional. So that necessitated taking a look at the entire charter and doing a major overhaul. That commission proposed making changes in a number of areas, including the budget process, franchises and concessions, the ULURP land use process, and the roles of various elected officials, many of whom inherited powers from the Board of Estimate. In 2010, a Charter Revision Commission restored a 2-term limit for city officials, which had been extended a couple years earlier. The 2019 Commission implemented ranked choice voting on primary and special election ballots, which we see today. And it made the mayor's appointment of the Corporation Council, who is our boss at the Law Department, subject to the City Council's advice and consent. Next slide. Mayor de Blasio in 2021 appointed a commission entitled the Racial Justice Commission, which set out to examine the charter to identify barriers to power, access, and opportunity related to race, and to put forward proposals aimed at removing those barriers and advancing racial equity. So that commission put measures on the ballot that were approved by voters in 2022, including establishing an Office of Racial Equity, headed by a Chief Equity Officer, and requiring that citywide and agency-specific racial equity plans be prepared every 2 years. Finally, last year, Mayor Adams appointed a Charter Revision Commission, which was intended to review the charter to ensure government efficiency and responsiveness to the city's needs, with a particular focus on public safety, fiscal responsibility, and transparency in the legislative process. So that commission put a few measures on the ballot in 2024, including one to expand the Department of Sanitation's authority, the proposal to require the City Council to obtain cost estimates before hearing new legislation, and to provide 30 days notice before voting on policing or public safety legislation, and put in place some additional requirements for the capital planning process. So those were approved by voters in November. It's worth noting that there was another proposal that was not approved by voters that had been proposed by that commission. So that's, of course, always a possibility. So that ends our presentation. Trevor Lippman is here as well, so I'll give him the mic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex and Garrett. And my apologies for being tardy, or your efficiencies this afternoon and getting to the agenda faster than we anticipated. My name is Trevor Lippman. I'm a senior counsel at the Law Department. In this Division of Legal Counsel, I work with Alex and Garrett. I just want to take a quick moment to thank the commission, thank the chairs and the staff for inviting us here to give this presentation on the history of the Charter and Charter Revision Commissions. The Law Department provides counsel to all city entities, including all Charter Revision Commissions, which we've done for every commission in modern history. As Alex mentioned, there's currently another Charter Revision Commission that's being convened by the mayor. We provide counsel to both commissions. Working with the commission staff, we've set up a system where we are able to provide consistent advice to each commission while still maintaining separate confidential relationships. Other attorneys from the Law Department provided the same presentation to the Mayoral Commission last month. If there's any questions, Alex, myself, Garrett are happy to answer.
Question. Thank you so much. As a Law Department alum, I'm thrilled to have access to you, but my questions were about privilege and confidentiality. And I would love to just sort of understand, are you saying that it's different attorneys at the Law Department that are advising the Mayor's Commission, or it is also you three? And I might have some follow-up about that.
Sure. We've worked something through with the staff. Without going into details of the Law Department's operations, we do have separate attorneys that work with each commission. We also have other people in the Law Department who work with both commissions to make sure, to help ensure that we are maintaining consistent advice, again, across the city.
Can you use the mic over here?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. So I just want to make sure we all have the same understanding of the dynamic. And so is there attorney-client privilege between you all, your group, and this commission?
I believe we would say the attorney-client privilege is between the attorneys, the Law Department, and the staff of the commission. If there's a reason for us to directly advise the commission, we will address that internally, make sure that we are doing that in a privileged and a legal way.
Okay. And then for the staff, is if there's privilege with the staff, is it fair for them to expect that their communications with you that are giving or soliciting legal advice are not shared with the other commission or other parts of the city government?
We maintain privilege across the city.
Okay.
We do maintain separate lines of privilege to various different city entities, and we endeavor to make sure that all of our actions are within the legal requirements of legal ethics to maintain those privileges.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ritter? That one doesn't want to,
Yeah,
that one
I don't
doesn't
know.
want to stretch.
We get to give you all this one.
Okay, thank you. Excuse my ignorance on this, but in terms of the mayor's commission and us sort of operating on parallel tracks, could you just sort of explain how that works and to what extent is there a possibility of the commissions sort of operating at cross purposes or competing interests or proposals that actually are in conflict with one another, and how does that play out?
So the municipal home rule law has laid out a process in section 36, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but there's a section in the municipal home rule law that lays out the order when there's more than one commission in existence at the same time, if they both propose ballot initiatives at the same time. So the commissions work separately. They can each propose proposals. There's an order. The mayoral commission has priority over other commissions. And so if there's questions proposed by both commissions in any given year, or by multiple commissions in any given year, that order would ensure that only one commission's questions appear on the ballot, and the other commission's questions would appear on the ballot the following year, the next general election.
So if our commission, if our commission comes up with proposals that the mayor's commission doesn't like, they can, in that instance, come up with something that overrides what our commission proposes?
So I would defer to the staff really to advise the commission more directly on these questions. But you know, there is, as I said, there's the only one commission's proposals can appear on the ballot in any given year.
We can follow up with more of those sort of possibilities.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do the commissioners have any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Very, very informative. I already previewed the announcements, but I will share again that our next meeting will be on Wednesday, March 5th at 5 p.m. at the Brooklyn Public Library at the Central Branch at Grand Army Plaza. And folks can register to testify in person, via Zoom, or in writing on the commission's website at www.thecommission.nyc. That completes our formal agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair. Do you have the times for the rest of these?
Yeah.
They're all 5
They're all 5 p.m.?
Yep.
Before I call for a motion to adjourn, are there any other questions?
Yeah, I'm curious. Excuse me. I'm curious. So if you could just say like there's one in every borough where we take testimony, and then again where proposals are presented, and then one just what are the three tranches of?
Sure. Yeah. So the general cadence is we will have meetings in every borough where the public can come and offer their testimony.
Yeah.
There will be the issuance of a report or a document after each sort of set of hearings, so that for the next round, folks have things to respond to.
Yeah. So then do we meet like in this kind of not testimony receiving session in between the testimony receiving sessions to work through what
We'll
Has
be
been heard?
figuring out that cadence,
Okay,
yeah,
but presumably there's some meetings in between these.
which will be business hour meetings rather than evening meetings, which I feel like is the thing that people want to know.
Just a logistical question. Should we come fed? Should we assume?
Yes, we're not providing.
Yeah. I
Yes.
All right.
You
Thank
should
you.
come fed. That food is sadly is not.
Any other questions, logistical or otherwise? Any other questions? Okay, and I'm sure the staff will be around for a few more minutes if folks have other additional questions. I would once again like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, none opposed, the motion carries and our meeting is concluded. Thank you so very much, commissioners. Appreciate it.